Hey guys, it's Leo with the Dreaming Tree, and in this video I'm going to show you how to put together these awesome projects from our Vegas road trip SVG bundle. Now the bundle includes Walt's RV, we've got 2 box cards, now we've got duplicates up here, I don't want to get you confused. We've got a poker based box card, and we have a Vegas / roulette based box card as well, and then we've got this really cool slot machine. So the paper that we used for this bundle is Echo Park's Getaway paper, but of course, any paper you want to use is going to look awesome. And I just want to kind of discuss a few of the things that will kind of differentiate these from the stuff that you're used to. For example, the slot machine actually comes with a PDF file that includes this printable element. It's basically, the 777, the bars, and the cherries. We just felt that trying to assemble these little pieces with paper can be very time consuming and tedious, so all you need is a standard printer and just a standard piece of paper to print this out. We've got nice little perforated lines that show you where to cut to get that to size up perfectly, and you'll see during the assembly just how easy it is to incorporate into the final design. So this is going to be great for anyone that loves hitting the slot machines or anyone that spends time at the casino. And actually I was talking to a friend last night who said that you could even make this up for a wedding gift, actually, like for the groom, and say, hey, you kind of hit the jackpot with this one, you know what I mean? So it's really up to you and your imagination as far as what you do with this. But this is a really cool box. It goes together very easily, and it's really cool. So I'm sure whoever you give it to is going to love it. So we've also included 2 box cards. Now this box card is sort of Vegas / roulette inspired. And as you can see here, the roulette wheel actually spins. It's held in place with a brad to give it an interactive little feel. Now you can actually leave off the Vegas sign and use that for stamping or journaling, and there's also an area here that you can do the same with. But again, this is very simple to put together, folds flat. We've included an envelope. Just be sure that when you take it to the post office that you have it hand canceled, because I don't think your typical postage will cover this sort of card. Okay, so we've got that, and we've also have a poker inspired box card as well. I'm sure some of you have husbands or friends that have poker nights. This would be a really cool way to send out an invitation for a poker night. Goes together very easily, very simply. Again, it folds flat for mailing, and it also includes an envelope. Okay, and finally, we have Walt's RV, and this is an actual box. The roof of the RV comes off, and it's nice and spacious, as most RVs are, and gives you enough room to put in whatever gift you want to put in here, and goes together very easily. This is probably the most challenging of these projects here, but it's not hard at all. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. And we've actually included some printable vellum elements here for the windows. Kind of gives the windows a really cool gradient look, almost like they're semi-tinted. Of course, that's optional. You don't need to use that. You can just use regular vellum. You can change the color if you want by using colored vellum. But again, it's very easy to put together. There are a few smaller pieces that are going to test your patience slightly. But again, if I can do it, you can do it. And there's a little secret compartment back here for the spare tire, and I'm not sure what you can put in there, but I'm sure that you'll figure something out, and that's just a little detail that we wanted to add just so you can surprise the recipient with just a little extra something. So just make sure you have all your pieces cut out and ready to go, and let's show you how this stuff goes together. Okay, so let's go ahead and put together the poker box card. And before we get to the actual assembly of the actual box card, I just want to go over the pieces and sort of show you where everything goes. Now this is the actual base of the card. As you can see, we've done some pre-assembly here. We've got these panels on. We've got panels on here for the flaps. And we also have these panels here for the exterior of the flaps, or the top of the flaps. Okay, so
what you're going to do to complete that is you're going to put this piece on there, and then you're going to put this little accent piece on top. Okay, we've done a little bit of inking and distressing just to kind of make it look a little more interesting. That's completely optional. And you also have this piece that's going to go here, okay, and that will actually complete that part of it. Now on the front, you've got this piece that's going to get glued on right here. You want to make sure that this piece is nice and flush with the opening, okay? And then we have one piece that goes here. It's a nice little accent piece as well. Okay, so that is going to create the actual structure of the box card for us, and that's all decorated, so you're going to want to put that together. And then let's talk about the various pieces that actually create the interior or the actual focal point of the card itself. And let's begin with the frontmost portion, okay? And basically this is comprised of this solid piece here, this red piece. Now if you look closely at this piece, here's maybe a different color, there are some actual score lines right in the middle that help you with the positioning of this piece, which you can use for stamping. You can write a little message on there, some journaling, whatever you want to do with it. Okay, so you're going to glue that on there. You're going to glue the King of Hearts and the Jack of Hearts into place as well. So once you have your Jack and your King in place and you have this piece in here, you're going to grab these funky looking pieces. Okay, and again, basically we have two of these just to kind of help strengthen and reinforce this piece here so that these cards don't wobble as much. So literally you will just put glue on this entire piece and glue it to this other piece. Just make sure that you have it nice and lined up. Okay, we've already pre-assembled the 10 of Hearts and the Ace of Hearts. The Queen of Hearts goes together the same exact way. You've got this top piece, you glue it to this piece, and then you glue that to the front there. Okay, so I have these two pieces fully assembled. Then basically what you're going to do is you're going to put glue on this little oval here, this circle. It is a perfect circle, I think. And we're going to take this piece and just kind of figure out where you want it to sit. Okay, I kind of want to make sure that the Queen and the 10 and the Ace are exposed so you can see them. And then take a look at the back and just make sure that this little circle is within the score lines there so that it doesn't get obstructed in any way. And I kind of like how that looks, so I'm going to push that down and just make sure that gets a good hold. And there's that piece. It's nice and ready to go. Now you've got this wacky looking piece here, and you've got another piece that's exactly the same. Okay, and what that is basically just to kind of reinforce it, because these chips tend to have a little weight on them and you don't want them kind of getting wobbly and getting limp on you. So what you're going to do is just literally put glue on this entire piece and glue it to the back of this so that it's all nice and flush. And it's going to help stabilize this piece. Now we've already pre-assembled two of the chips. Okay, you've got a white piece and a green piece here, a white piece and a blue piece here. And then basically, I'm sorry, and actually there's three pieces. You've got the white, the green, and then this off-white. It's almost like a, I guess if you're colorblind, it almost looks like a green of some sort. But to assemble this chip, which is exactly the same as how you would assemble these, basically glue your colored piece to this off-white or light green piece, and then glue that to the center of the white piece. Okay, then you're going to glue that right on there, and that will complete the center portion of the box card. Okay, so the last part of this is the back of the card, and it's basically made up of these pieces here. So what you're going to do is you're going to glue this smaller green piece. This is basically like a shadow layer that we're dealing with right now. Here's the top layer. Okay, now technically I should have put glue on the back of this instead of on the front of the white piece, just to make sure that I'm not putting glue where it doesn't need to go. Okay, so we've got that piece glued together. Now this king and this ace, they are basically made up of the same pieces. You've got the face, the middle, and then the white background. The king's already assembled, so I just showed you how to put the ace together. So you're going to do the same thing for the ace and the king. So we'll throw this blue piece on top there. Okay, just kind of work your fingers around there just to make sure everything's nice and lined up. Do your best. And then throw some glue on this layer. And put the face of the card right on there. And again, probably should have put glue on the back of this piece and not on this piece, so that you're not getting glue where you don't need it. Okay, but that turned out okay. And then finally, you're going to just glue these pieces right onto this green piece. And these are going to be flush with the white part there. Actually, no, I'm sorry, they're gonna be flush with the green part. Okay, so you see how that looks. And pop that down. Okay, and once you've got that in place, we're going to go ahead and glue that down right here. Kind of want to leave about just a little border there that's basically the same width as that white border just above that blue. Okay, and you want to make sure that that's nice and centered here. So we're going to put glue, actually one second here, let's just line that up one more time so that we get a good idea of where our glue is going. So basically you want to keep the glue within this square area back here. So you can kind of visualize the little rectangle here. Keep your glue in this area here so it doesn't spill out into areas that don't need it. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Go ahead and flip that back. Just lay that down, make sure it's centered, left and right. You got a nice border up at the top. Beautiful. Okay, so that is in place and ready to go. Now at this point, what we can go ahead and do is close up our box card. And what we're gonna do is put a little bit of glue here. Try to get it right in the center so that when you put that other piece down, the glue expands to the left and right. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and align that. Make sure we got a nice angle there. Give it a few seconds to get its initial grip. And once you feel like it's got that grip, go ahead and bend it or fold it and push down. Okay, give it a few seconds and then bend it the other way. I keep throwing this term around, but we're basically training the card to fold. Okay, so that is looking pretty awesome so far. At this point, we are ready to complete the box card by putting in the inserts. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, all right, so we are ready to complete the box card here. So I'm gonna start with the back part. I'm gonna take this, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna place glue on these two little tabs here, and I'm gonna stick it in. I'm gonna push it up against the back, and we're gonna put our fingers in there and just make sure that the sides get a good hold. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Get a nice line of glue on here. That doesn't look like a line, does it? That looks more like a splotch. Oops, and that's okay. Just want it to stick because you know, this thing is going to be moving in and out. I want to get some good coverage on there. Make sure that it gets a really good hold so it can withstand the test of time. All right, so got the box card. Gonna go ahead and just pop it in there, push it towards the back. Take those flaps. Make sure that the flap, make sure that this part of that little flap, that tab, is up against the back of the card. And then just glue it to the side. Okay. And now as it's drying, you want to go ahead and fold and push down. Okay. We're going to fold and push down again. And beautiful. Okay. And finally, basically going to repeat the same thing except this one. You're going to fold it towards you. That is a valley fold. And I'm going to put glue on this tab here. Glue on this tab here. And we're just going to slide it right in there. bring it towards the front. Make sure that that front of that tab is flush with the front. I'm gonna take this poker thingy. You guys are already making fun of me for the names that I'm giving these tools, and that's okay. All right, so just make sure that that's flush. Get your finger in there or a pencil, make sure that it holds, and then as it's drying, just push down and hold it, make sure it really grabs. Okay, and bend it the other way. And there you go. That is a cool card. This could be awesome for, say you got a poker player in your life who's got, you know, friends that come over for poker night. You want to do an invitation of some sort. You can pop the time and the date, you know, like Friday night, 9 p.m. at Bob's, or I probably could have came up with a more interesting name than Bob, but Bob sounds like a guy that would play poker. So there you go, looks awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and assemble the Roulette box card, or the Vegas box card. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over the various pieces so that you guys know where everything goes. This is the base of the box card, okay? And you're going to have panels here and here. We've already done some pre-assembly, okay? So you're gonna put these panels down. There's also some accent pieces for the flaps. You're gonna wanna put those down. Now we have this piece here, okay? That's gonna get glued right there. You wanna make sure that you've got a nice even border around it, okay? And all this part here is gonna be flush. There's also a hole in here as well as here. You wanna make sure that those are lined up, okay? And then we have these pieces here for the front of the box. Okay, you're gonna glue that down. And you wanna make sure that you line up this little hole here perfectly. Everything should be flush. Then you have an accent piece that goes right on top. Okay, and you're gonna basically align that with the outer edge of that last piece. And you're gonna finish it off with this piece here. And these are also going to be flush. Okay, so technically you could glue these together first and then put that on there. And then these little holes in the final version, we actually embellished it with some little gems just to kind of give it that blingy Vegas look. Okay, they're almost like those little lights that you see on the slot machines or whatever. So that is the assembly of the actual card itself. And then also, of course, so you've got the panels here, or the flaps here, and these go on the underside. There are also some accent pieces for the top of the flaps, okay, which you'll want to assemble there. Okay, so this is the front insert of the box card, as you can see here. And basically what we're gonna do is you've got this main piece here. We've already pre-assembled two of the chips. There's a colored piece and a white piece that you need to glue together. We've got this chip as well that's not assembled, but you're basically gonna glue that right on there and then glue it on here. Okay, so that's gonna take care of that piece. And the back piece here is the one with the little Vegas sign. So yours is going to look like this. The blue is one shape. This little white area here is another piece that we've got glued on right here. Okay, and then at that point, we're gonna go ahead and glue on the little mountain. Okay, and we're simply going to just align that and just take a look at it and just kind of make sure that you have it centered with the back here, okay, so that when these things fold, they're not overlapping. And there's really no right or wrong with this. About there is pretty good, where you can see this little valley of this hill, or this mountain, just kind of sticking up about a quarter of an inch above this mountain here. Okay, so you glue that down, and then you can go ahead and finish the sign, okay, and that consists of these pieces here. So we've got this piece, it's gonna go right on here. You want the points here. Obviously it wouldn't work that way, so regardless of which way you do it, it's gonna be fine. So that goes on there. Now, the cool thing is, if you don't want the word Vegas on yours, you can put this additional accent piece on here, okay? You can use this as a little spot for stamping or even writing a little message or whatever. If you want to recreate it just as we have it pictured, Then you'll want to take this top piece, glue it to this bottom piece. Okay, that's going to create the word Vegas. Okay, and then you can put this on top of there and glue those pieces together and then affix that to this piece here. Now you can either glue that or pop dot it, whatever you want. Now also we have this little star. I've pre-assembled this as well. You've got 2 stars, you glue those on top, and then you can either pop dot that or glue it. I think it looks better with a little pop dot on there. Okay, and in the final one we actually put that same bling, well it's not the same but it's similar, right on that star just to give it a little extra oomph. Okay, there is also this piece which I actually forgot to talk about for this insert. Okay, now if you look closely on this piece, you'll see that we actually have some score lines on here to help you correctly align this piece. So you will want to glue that down as well. Okay, so that's that. Now let's take a look at the roulette wheel real quick. I'm going to show you how to assemble that. The roulette wheel consists of these pieces. Okay, now so you've got the red piece here. Now all these have holes, so as long as you just have the holes lined up, you know you're going to be okay. This green piece is for your 0, 0, 0. Okay, so you'll want to basically put glue on the back of this, and it doesn't matter how you glue it. You just need to make sure that these holes line up. Okay, so you're going to glue that down. Okay, and then once you have that, you're going to glue this blue piece down. Okay, and make sure that when you position it, now this would help if it was glued right now, but when you position it, just make sure that the green is lined up with 2 of these slots. Okay, so basically you've got green, black, red, just like a traditional roulette wheel. Okay, then you're going to glue this down, and finally, well, almost finally, you're going to put this center piece down. Okay, so that's going to create your roulette wheel. And then this little spindle thing, let me show you what that looks like here. You can see that's really cool. I've actually added a little bit of bling to that as well. So this little spindle piece is 2 pieces. You're just going to glue that together, center that. Okay, now this little tiny donut actually goes on the back of the card. Okay, right there. It just kind of adds a little bit more reinforcement because this thing's going to be spinning actually. And then, you know, you could glue this, but we found a really cool little brad that once your roulette wheel is done, you'll kind of feed it through, place it here, feed it through, and keep it in place with the brad so it can actually spin. Okay, so at this point, I've just gone over the assembly of all the inserts, the exterior, the tops of the flaps, the bottoms of the flaps. So go ahead and get all that together, and then we'll go ahead and put the final card together. Okay, so I've got all the pieces put together here. As you can see, I've got my roulette wheel all ready to go. So all we need to do at this point is put the actual card together. Okay, and we're going to do that by folding it over. Oh, and by the way, there is actually there's another piece in here. Okay, you can just pop that on there as well. I think I forgot to mention that. And this piece here, actually, one other thing, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but you can use this as an area for a stamp or writing a little message or something like that, or you can just leave it blank, or you can put someone's photo in here, actually. That'd be kind of fun. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this card up, and we're gonna do that by putting some glue on this tab, okay, and bringing this piece over. Just wanna make sure that that's nice and aligned. And just push and hold that down until it gets a good solid hold. Do your best to get everything lined up perfectly. And while it's settling in, go ahead and push it down and fold it, just because eventually this thing's going to be folded so that you can mail it. And then bring it the other way. Push and fold down. Okay, got your box card. And this guy's pretty much ready to be put together. I'm going to grab the roulette wheel, grab the little donut, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put the brad through, okay, and then we're going to feed it through this hole here. Just kind of force it through there. Take your little donut and put it on the back, and then bend your brad over so that it holds. Okay, and there you go. You got a nice spinny roulette wheel. Hopefully the ball lands on your number. Go home a winner. Okay, we're gonna take this insert here, fold it. It's gonna be a a mountain fold. So you're folding these tabs away from you, and we're going to stick this in there, push it back so that these tabs are flush with the back, and also that the bottom of this is flush with the bottom of the box. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put some glue on both sides here. Okay, I'm gonna push these in so they don't make a mess as we're popping it in. Okay, so it's flush with the base. I'm gonna push it in so it's flush with the back. I'm gonna take my fingers and just push here. Make sure it's nice and flush. And as it's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and push, actually fold it, okay, because this thing needs to be able to fold. Okay, and that actually didn't get a good grip, so I gotta wait a second. Okay, so that's got a hold. Okay, so to finish this thing off, we're gonna go ahead and put glue on these tabs here. Okay, and just kind of bend these in a little bit so they don't brush up against the side too much as you're positioning it, and gently feed it in there. Use the table as kind of a guide because that bottom needs to be flush with the bottom. Take these tabs and just push them off to the side. Use your fingers to get them to adhere, okay? And as it's drying, just make sure that you bend it and fold it so that it gets a good grip, and that you train it so that it folds for you when it's nice and done. Okay, so that is your Vegas card. Okay, so we're gonna show you how to assemble the slot machine. Okay, it's actually pretty simple. It's just a cool little box. We're gonna go ahead and go over all of the pieces real quick just to get you up to speed. Now, this piece that we're looking at here, I've kind of pre-trimmed it. This is a printable piece that comes with your download, and you'll want to open this file. It's basically a PDF file that you can print out. We actually printed it out on textured cardstock, and it came out beautiful, or it came out beautifully. And what you're gonna wanna do is just basically cut around the dotted lines here and get this thing ready to be glued inside of the actual slot machine. Now, rather than trying to piece all these little pieces together with paper, I figured we'd give it a more realistic look with some actual printable elements. So you don't need a special printer to do this because the file that we've included is 8.5 by 11. You can actually print this on regular paper if you'd like. We just wanted to keep it consistent with the rest of the look of the slot machine by printing it on textured cardstock, which again works perfectly. So we'll have that piece ready, and let's take a look at just the overall shape and the pieces required to create the shape of the slot machine. Now, this piece that we're looking at here is the face. Okay, so this is going to be folded like this. Okay, now this piece here makes up one side of the slot machine and the back. Okay, now this back piece, as you can see, we've sort of gone and done some pre-assembly here. Okay, so these panels are already in place. This panel is going to get glued on here to finish off the back piece. Okay, so again, this is one side of the slot machine. All right, this is the other side. Okay, and again, just make sure that your panels are all glued down. Okay, so this piece is the bottom. Okay, that's the bottom of the slot machine. And then this is the top of the lid. Okay, got another panel there. And then these are the two pieces that make up the side of the lid. Okay, so what we're going to do is just make sure that we have all of our panels glued on before we assemble that. And let's take a closer look at some of the other fine details. This little piece here is a trim piece that goes there. This is the trim piece that is going to go around the actual numbers. Okay, you've got the word jackpot, which goes on the front of the lid, and that's two pieces. There's a white piece and then a patterned piece. You're going to glue those together to create that. And also we have this bottom piece, which consists of a patterned layer and then a solid layer and then another patterned layer. Obviously you could substitute these if you'd like and use solid for these pattern layers if you want. That's totally up to you creatively. So that's that piece. And then we've got the buttons, which are made up of these pieces here. So you're going to glue those on. You're going to glue those together to create the little buttons for below the numbers. And finally, we have the little handle. Okay, this one's already assembled, and it's actually two-sided. So there's two sides that basically need to be assembled in the same exact way. So you've got your base piece, and you've got a nice little accent piece that goes over that. Now there's holes down here to help you get everything aligned. And then you have one more donut shape here, and another donut shape here, just to kind of give it that little extra dimension. Okay, so we want to get all that glued together. So basically at this point, you just want to make sure that you have all your panels on and you're familiar with all your pieces. Get all these put together as well, and we'll go ahead and assemble the slot machine. All right, so let's go ahead and get the slot machine assembled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this larger piece here. This is the largest piece. I'm just going to lay it flat, and basically here's your side. Here's the side of the frontmost part of the slot machine, and here's your other side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take glue, put it on this tab. I'm going to lay this on my sheet of paper here. Just kind of use the top of it as a guide just to make sure that I've got it all lined up properly. Just kind of push that into place and push down and get that glued in place. So again, we're just going to want to place some glue on this tab here. Try to be real gentle with it. Don't want to glob it on too much so it squirts out. Okay, again, make sure it's nice and lined up. Push that down. Get all that air out of there. Make sure that glue takes a good hold. Okay, should have a nice crisp line here. Okay, so we've got that in place. And here's the basic formation of your jukebox. Again, I keep calling it a jukebox. It's a slot machine. I don't know why. Okay, and next what we're going to do is we're going to actually glue this part on here up on top, and then make our way down and get these pieces glued into place. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put some glue on this tab here. I'm going to grab this, just make sure that, actually I just need a little bit more glue out to the edge. Okay, just make sure that we get a nice firm hold. And I'm going to put that right up there. It's going to create a 90-degree angle because it is square, so make sure you've got that nice and lined up. Just keep your finger there, make sure that gets a good grip. Okay, hold it until it's dry, because we're going to need that to kind of anchor the rest of it while we go down and glue the rest of it into place. Okay, so that's got a pretty good hold, and as you can see, the rest of it kind of will just fall into place. Just want to kind of get a good idea of the formation. Okay, you can see how that's going to look, just like that. Okay, so what you want to do is basically put glue on this tab here and this tab here, and then glue that down. Okay, and basically you're going to do the same thing on this side. So you're going to end up putting glue here, here, and here, just like we did with the first side, to get that, to kind of create that form of your slot machine. So go ahead and do that. So we'll just go ahead and walk you through this, or so that you can at least see me doing it. And hopefully this box is a big hit for some of the crafters out there, even if you yourself don't partake in gambling. I know you probably have someone in your family that has either gone to Vegas, or they have local casinos, or Atlantic City, someone that hopefully has won some money playing slot machines. I've never really had much luck. I think the most I've won was maybe a couple $100, but I have some customer friends on Facebook that occasionally will post pictures of their winnings, and you know who you are. And I'm not going to lie and say that when I see that I'm not tempted to go. So, you know, maybe you should warn us or something that, hey, you know, skip this, because I'm probably a few steps away from calling 1-800-GAMBLER. And staring at this doesn't help, but it is fun, and hopefully, like I said, somebody in your family will appreciate this as a nice little gift box. You can actually go to your local casino that they frequent and get a gift card, pop it in there for them, or I don't know, if you go to Vegas or something and give them a souvenir, you can always put it in this box too. And it's funny, actually, speaking of souvenirs, I was watching a stand-up skit. I think his name's Dimitri something. And he was talking about souvenirs and how they're basically a reminder that you give someone that they didn't go on vacation and have fun, and that you got stuck home. So here's a constant reminder that you're going to put up in your house of the time that you didn't go on vacation, which is pretty sweet, isn't it? I thought that was funny. But so you can see here, I'm just doing my best to line everything up, getting the glue to get a nice grip. And I will tell you that doing this on camera is a lot harder than it is off camera, for the sole reason that I don't want my face in the shot. So I can't really hold it up to my face, otherwise it would be really awkward. So yours should be a lot cleaner than mine and a lot better looking. But that is the basic shape of your slot machine. And at this point, what we can do, let's go ahead and flip it over. We'll put these down, okay? And actually, you know what? If you wanted to, you technically could have put some of these accent pieces on before you assembled it, but it really doesn't matter. It's not a huge deal either way. But let's go ahead, flip it over, okay? And we want to kind of train this so that it takes the right hold. I'm going to take our bottom piece here, okay? And as you can see, that's how it's going to go on. Okay, so actually, if you need to, if for some reason this piece isn't sitting the way you want it to, you can just kind of squeeze it in and out until it aligns. With the glue, the quick dry glue that we use, you've got about 30 seconds before it really gets a really solid hold. So you've got a lot of time to finagle it around and get it to where you need it to go. And even when it seems like it won't budge, if you just add a little bit of tension, you'll be surprised that you can still kind of move it around. Okay, so I'm just getting glue on all of these tabs. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with just one side here. Just make sure that it looks nice and aligned. Work my way over, kind of squeeze here to get that side nice and lined up before it gets a real good grip. Okay, so we're about 15-20 seconds into this. It's starting to get a hold. I'm gonna flip it over, stick my hand in there. Oops, kind of came out a little bit, that's okay. All right, and just gonna push down, get all that air out, make that glue really bond between the paper. Okay, bam. Okay, so that's looking good. Okay, so the next step, actually, before we place this piece inside, we're gonna go ahead and put this little trim piece on, because that's gonna help us make sure that we have the actual slot machine numbers and little cherries and stuff in the right place. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that on its side and just glue that on, just pop it on there. Kind of use my fingers here just to make sure that I've got it aligned. I want to make sure that it's nice and level. Okay, that looks good to me. So we'll let that dry. At this point, what you're going to want to do is just take this and just stick it in, just get an idea of where it's going. Okay, you can use your finger inside this hole here to kind of move it around. Okay, and I kind of like it right about there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some glue on the outer edge of this and down here. Okay, and maybe just a little bit up at the top. Okay, I'm going to slide that in. kind of push in there, make sure that that fits nicely. Okay, give it a few seconds to dry. All right, and that looks great. Okay, so next step here, we can go ahead and put this trim piece on. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just want to use the little score line here to help you guide that and line it up. So I'm not going to show that because that's obviously really self-explanatory. So we've got the base of it. It's ready to be filled with some goodies. Let's just put the lid together and then the handle, and we're good to go. Before we can put the lid together, I guess it wouldn't be really fun to try to use a slot machine using ESP or extrasensory powers. We probably need some buttons so that we can actually select our bets and things of that nature. So once that trim piece is in place, you can just glue those on there. And I don't really need to show that, but I do want to let you know that you do need some buttons. Okay, so those buttons are going to go right on there. All right, so let's move on to the lid. Okay, so let's go ahead and assemble the lid. You've basically got these two strips, and we've got panels on them already. Now this is actually going to go on the face of the lid. Now one of these is, it's optional if you want to have that panel on there. It doesn't have to be there. I think it kind of makes it a little bit more dimensional, so you can leave it on and take it off, whatever you want to do. But as far as putting this guy together, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on this tab. Okay, and we're going to line this up like so. Make sure it's nice and flush here. Let's see if you can see that. Nice and flush here. Nice and lined up with the score line. I'm going to push down. Okay, make sure that's got a good grip. And then we're going to take it, loop it around, put some glue on this tab. And close this guy up. Make sure it's nice and flush with the score line. Okay, make sure it's nice and flush here. Push down, make sure it gets a good grip. Give it just a few seconds. Okay, so there is the basic form of the lid. We're going to push these tabs down, grab this piece here, and pop some glue on these tabs. Get it out to the edge as best as you can, maybe right in the middle so that when it squeezes out, it goes in both directions. Pop that on top. Do your best to get that aligned. Okay, and give it a few seconds to get that initial hold. And then once you feel that it's got it, flip it over and push in from the inside to really get a good grip on it. Okay, so as some of you crafters would say, easy peasy. Okay, so at this point, you can go ahead and take your jackpot and glue that to the front. Okay, I didn't put enough glue on there, but just showing you that's where it goes, and then your lid's gonna go right on like that. And finally, the last thing to do is to actually put the handle on. Now the handle, there's a little hole here, okay, and there's also a hole in the panel. So when you put the panel on, make sure you get those aligned. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take and we're going to just glue these two handles back to back so that the designs are showing on either side. Okay, and then all we're gonna do is affix it. And then once you have that aligned with the hole, poke your brad through, and then you're going to need to separate the little parts of the brad by getting your hand inside there. And that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put together Walt's RV. And before we do so, I'm just going to go through and kind of just discuss all the pieces to help you get everything situated and glued on before we begin the assembly of the actual structure of the RV. So as you can see, we have one side pre-done. Okay, we've already glued everything down. So I'm just going to walk you through that process. So with this piece here, now we've already assembled two pieces of the trim. We actually have this folder, this embossing folder. I don't have the exact name of it handy, but we will include it in the PDF so that you have it. But we actually use this to emboss the actual face or the side of the RV, just to kind of give it that that look as if it has like a siding on it. A lot of RVs have this sort of texture. Now, it wasn't wide enough to actually span the entire length of the RV, but we simply just take it and pop it on the other side and run it through again and try to line it up so that it looks pretty decent. Either way, it's going to look cool. So we've done that, and let's just take a look at the various pieces that make up the rest of it. So we've got this piece of trim here. We also have a door that goes right there. There's also this little piece that goes on that door. It's almost like one of those little kick guards. Okay. Also have this little trim piece here. Now this long blue piece, you're going to position it, and actually there, if you look close, are some score lines to kind of help you with the positioning of that. Okay, and then there's also a decorative panel that goes right on top of that. Okay. Okay, so next we have this awning piece, okay? And basically there's a white layer. It's gonna go below the awning to create these circles. Okay, so you're gonna glue that into place. And then you've got this decorative panel here, okay? And we have these two pieces that are gonna be glued. Let's see if I can show you this one here. You're going to glue that just like so, okay? And then eventually this little tab here will be glued to the actual RV to kind of support the awning so that it stays in place, okay? So also, when you're gluing the awning down, you can't see it on camera here, but there's a tiny little score line here, and you're going to want to align the bottom of this with that score line, okay? So it's going to look something like this. Okay, so again, you can't really see it, but just use that as a guide, because when you put the lid on, you don't want the awning to obstruct the lid's ability to sit properly on top of the RV. Okay, so we've got the awning, we've described and discussed that. So finally, with this trim piece here for the wheel wells and the base of the RV, you want to take and align the top of this with these score lines that are on here. Again, you can't really see them in the video, but they are there, and you're going to align those there. Now, before you do that, or after, actually it doesn't matter, you are going to want to create the wheels, and the wheels are made up of two circles with another circle in the middle. And we've actually taken an embossing folder, once the two were glued together, and ran that through the embossing folder. Okay, so those are going to get glued there. Okay. And then finally, these little compartments here are actually pretty straightforward. And I keep saying finally, and I keep missing a piece, so bear with me here. You're going to glue these together like so. Okay. And these are going to be positioned in that area there. Just take a look at the photograph as you're going along, just to make sure that you're getting everything in place. And even if it's off by just a little bit, it's not a big deal, okay? So you've got those pieces that are going to go there. And actually, we do have one final piece here, and it's made up of these two pieces. You're just going to glue that together to create this vent-like apparatus. I believe that's some sort of vent, or maybe it's the exhaust for air conditioning. I don't own an RV, so I don't know what they are, but maybe someday I will. So that is basically how you decorate each side of the RV. So let's go ahead and take a look at the front and the back. Okay, so let's discuss the assembly of this awning real quick, just to make sure that everyone understands it. Now we're going to go ahead and put some glue on this tab here, and just align that just like so. Make sure that where this little tab begins is lined up with the end of the awning there towards the back, okay? And just wait until it gets a good grip, and then just repeat that process on the other side. Just make sure that these two pieces are basically flush. Okay, so we've got the awning assembled, and I'm just going to put it to the side for now and come back to it once we have this thing pretty much completed. So go ahead and put that to the side. Okay, so the front of the RV, we've already done a little bit of pre-assembly. We've got a trim piece here. We have one blue piece, so yours is going to be different probably. We've got one piece there, and we have a decorative panel. Okay, we've got the little fender. We've got this trim piece, and we've got headlights, and these are basically two pieces. Just glue those together. And then we've got some fog lights. There's going to be two of these. I'm only showing one right now, and it's assembled. And actually, if you look real close, you'll see that we have some score lines to help indicate where to place this, and this piece. Okay, and then the fog lights are just going to go right on the fender, and you've got this decorative piece. It's going to go right up here. So you want to get that all nice and glued and ready. So one last thing with the front of the RV is this little piece of vellum. Now this is also a printable PDF file that you're going to run through your printer, and it's actually going to print out these two pieces here with these little perforated lines to help you to cut this out with scissors. And we've added this little cool gradient in the window areas just to kind of give it a more realistic or real look. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this out, okay, with scissors. Do your best. It doesn't have to be perfect. We've given you a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, put that to the side. And as you can see, it's going to be glued right on there. Okay, so what you're going to do is simply put some glue around the frame, or around the outside of this window. Okay, and you want to take the printed side, which is this side, and face it facing out. And we're just going to pop that in there, just making sure that you've got that nice gradient showing through. And just push down, make sure that we get that in there. Okay, so there you go. That looks good. We can put that to the side for now. So we've got this back piece here, and we have a little piece of trim here, a little piece of trim here, and let's take a look at this ladder. Okay, this ladder has two sets of score lines on the top and the bottom. You're going to fold it just like this, okay, and you're also going to fold it here. Then you're going to put glue right here and right here, and on ours we have the ladder glued over to the left side, and it doesn't really matter where it goes, just trying to get it between these two pieces, leave a nice little border over here, and that will complete the assembly of the back of it. So now let's go ahead and actually put the bones of the RV together. Okay, so now we're going to put the vellum on the actual bones of the sides of the RV. Okay, now we're going back to this piece that we used earlier to cut the window for the front of the RV out. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out using these perforated lines as a guide. Okay, so we're going to go around and cut this out. And we're going to glue that to the inside of that structure piece. Okay, I'll show you here in just one second. So we've also included a SVG file that will cut this out for you if you don't want to print the pattern or the design that you see here with these gradient windows. Okay, so again, that's totally optional, but technically, as long as you have some vellum, any printer will allow you to do this and give your RV a really real look. Okay, but again, you can just you can just cut out regular vellum and it'll still look cool, just won't look as cool. So with the printed side out, okay, which is this side here, we're going to glue this into place. Now with this one here, the gradients bleed past the actual holes for the windows, so you have a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to put some glue around these windows. Okay, and actually I'm just taking a look at this piece, And I'm just going to add a little bit more glue here just to kind of hold this in place a little bit better. Okay, so we've got that. Go ahead and position that over the windows. Do your best to get that aligned. And just push down and make sure that gets a good grip. Okay, let's take a look. And it looks good. Okay, so we've got both of these pieces done, and we're going to come back to them here in just a second. Now let's go ahead and form the front of the RV. Now what we've done is we've sort of devised a method to make this part easier. Because of these windows here and their close proximity to the edge here, it kind of forced us to use some really small tabs so that it didn't interfere or obstruct that window. So what we've done is we've created these two additional pieces that are basically going to help us in the formation of this piece here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this piece, and before I add glue, I'm going to show you exactly why or how to use this piece. Okay, so what you're going to do, and the cool thing is you can get kind of sloppy here. Just make sure you've got a nice piece of paper on your table so that you don't get glue everywhere. But basically we're going to just take glue and put them on all these tabs, and then we're going to use this piece to form the front of it. Now you see how easily that went together. You can kind of use this hand to hold it down and then use this hand to guide it. Okay, so really the only reason we have this piece is to help us form the front of the RV. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to go ahead, and while I'm showing you here, just go ahead and be very generous with the glue on these tabs, because we want to make sure that this gets a real good grip. This is not going to be seen. Everything's going to be covered up. So you can definitely get a little crazy with your glue, and if you're sloppy, it's okay. And I'm kind of bending it to shape it. And what I'm going to do is actually start towards the bottom, use the bottom of this and make sure that it's lined up here and flush with the bottom of the front of it. Okay, so I've got that. And then once I have that in place, I'm just literally going to take and push the rest of this into place. Make sure that those tabs are underneath. Okay, just like that, and hold that. Make sure that it gets a good grip. Okay, just kind of push down. Make sure that it gets a good grip. Give it a second. Make sure it gets a good hold. Okay. I'm kind of pushing in on the other side to make sure that this front piece is up against this little piece here so that we have a nice tight fit. Okay, just keep holding it. Let that glue really dry. And there we go. Okay, so you notice when you flip this over, it looks a little rough over here, but again, don't worry about this piece. It's simply just to help you form the curve of the front of the RV. So basically we're going to repeat that same process with this other piece. Okay, now I have it this way just so that you guys can see it, but again we're going to put glue on all these tabs, and we're going to start at the bottom and just go ahead and glue that in and shape that front again, just like so. Okay, so we've got the front piece shaped, okay, and again, don't worry too much about these tabs here. We, like I said, made this so that it's easier to get that curvature there, okay? So it looks a little sloppy right now, but it's gonna be covered up, so it's totally not a big deal. And at this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the base of the RV. There's score lines here that will create these tabs. All right, for now, you can actually fold these out of the way because we're going to add the front and the back and then eventually put the sides on. So to do that, the front piece has this tab here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna align these two pieces so that they're flush. Okay, let me just turn it this way so you can get a better view. Okay, so you see where that goes. And we're going to take glue, put it here, and then fold this over and glue it down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Got a nice fat tab here just to make sure that this thing sticks together. Okay, so we get that in position, nice and lined up, nice and flush. Push it down. Get that air out of there. Awesome. Okay, so that's looking good. Now these tabs here are going to overlap on the side, which is fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the back on. Same concept. I'm going to fold this over. We're going to align it here. Okay, and we're going to add glue to this nice fat tab and fold it over. Get that air out of there. Okay, so we've got these pieces in place. Got that in place so you can kind of see what's happening here. Got that formed. Now I want to go ahead and push these in, fold them nice so they're at nice 90-degree angles. Get this stuff all in place as well. Okay, so we've got the front, the back, and the base all assembled and all together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these sides, just lay it down flat, and align this flat front piece with the front of the RV. Okay, and oops, I'm going to go ahead and take glue, put glue on this tab. Okay, get a nice glue on there. Get that nice and aligned. Just flip this tab over, push down, and get that into place. Okay, so we've got this piece down. I'm going to flip this over, grab the other side, and just like we did a second ago, I'm going to line this up with the front of the RV. Okay, just make sure this is nice and flush. Okay, again, we're going to put glue on this tab. And mine kind of moved out of the way, so I will have to realign it here. That's okay. Again, we're going to line that with the front. Make sure that's nice and flush. And just pop that over, push down. And just kind of push that in until it gets a good hold. Okay. All right. So we've got the sides, the front and the back all glued down to the base. And we'll go ahead and start putting this thing together. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna form the front of it, okay? And what I'm gonna have you do is just put glue, you put a ton of glue here on the bottom. Make sure you get it out to the side here, to the edge, I should say. Not too close because it's gonna push out when you go ahead and glue it down. Same with the area around the windows. Get a little glue there, get some glue up there, and some glue towards the edge there. And so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this, fold it in, and then bring it down like so. And what you're gonna do is just kind of get an eagle eye look and try to align the windows so that everything shows through, so you don't see any paper showing through these little windows here, okay? That way you know that you've got it formed perfectly. Okay, so we're gonna push that down until it gets a nice grip. And then that's pretty much in place. We can go ahead and put glue here. In this area here and here. And close this up as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this, let it get a good initial grip. And then once it does that, I'm going to flip it over so I can add more force so that the glue sticks better. You can see in there. Awesome. This thing's actually very simple to assemble, especially with the way that it was designed. Okay, so to close this thing up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put glue here and here, as well as on these tabs here and on this tab here. I'm going to put those inside and just glue them down. I would probably start here at this angle here. Get it glued in. Okay, and then just follow this down and glue these parts into place as well. Okay, so we've got the basic formation of the RV in place, and it's a really cool design, nice and sturdy, everything looks good. And actually, before we put the front on, we actually have these liner pieces that you can glue into place just to kind of finish off the inside. I'm not going to do that right now, but you just place glue on this whole thing and just stick it in there, glue it to the side. That will actually help reinforce it and just give it a more polished look, because obviously you're going to use this as a really cool gift box. Okay, so next step is to put the front piece on. Okay, the bottom of this is going to be flush with the bottom of the RV. The top will be flush with the top of the RV, but what you're going to do is put glue on the top part here. Try to get it out to the edge so that it gets a nice firm grip. Off to the side. Don't get it too close to the vellum because you don't want it to peek through. Okay. Get your glue on there. And just use my finger to kind of guide that and make sure that it's nice and flush. And just kind of roll that over into place. Kind of put your hand in there if you want. Kind of form it. Okay, so to assemble the back piece, we're going to go ahead and put glue all over this thing. Okay, and then what you're going to want to do actually is take and align the top of this and make sure that that's flush, because the bottom is going to hang down just a tiny little bit, and eventually when we get the sides on, it's going to meet up with the trim on the side of the actual RV. Okay, so make sure that gets a good grip and glue that down. Okay, so we've got it on its side now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just put glue on the inside of the side panel of the RV. Okay, now it's embossed, so the parts that are really going to stick are the ones that are sticking out, but I'm just going to go ahead and put glue all over it, because it would take forever to try to just get them on the raised parts. Okay, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to flip it around and just match it up with the holes in the windows and the holes of the actual windows on the base of the RV. Okay, and you're just going to push down, make sure that it's got a good grip, make sure that all that stuff's nice and aligned. Okay, put my hand inside, kind of get that to form and adhere. Okay, and you probably go a little bit crazier on the glue than I did. Okay, so we've got one side on. I'm going to flip it over, do the same exact thing with the other side. All that's really left to do at this point is glue on the awning, okay? And basically you're going to position it right about there, and you're going to glue these down to kind of keep it up as well, okay? So you can go ahead and do that, and let's go ahead and put together the lid. Okay, so the lid is made up of these three pieces, okay? And you can see we've got score lines, so you basically want to just go ahead and fold these like so to build the basic formation of the lid. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of glue, put it on this triangular tab here, and while you have it just sitting on the table, make sure that these meet up at the correct angle. And you can kind of flip it around and take a look and make sure that you've got it nice and lined up. It's got a good grip. Okay. Just like that. So that's what, I believe that is actually the front. And then we've got the back piece here. We're going to put some glue on this tab, this triangular tab here. And we're just going to glue that to this piece here. Okay, you're going to hold that until it gets a good grip. And I actually put way too much glue on there, so it takes a little bit longer to dry because there's so much more glue on there, but just hold that until it gets a good grip. And then we can go ahead and put the top of this together. Okay, so it looks like that's gotten a good hold. Okay, so there is your lid. And basically what you're going to do at this point is put some glue on these tabs. And once we've got that all covered in glue, I'm going to take this piece, pop it right on top, make sure you have a nice rectangular shape to it. Hold it there for a few seconds while it gets its initial grip. Okay, make sure we've got it nice and formed. You might need to scooch some things over while that glue is grabbing, and flip it over and do any more minor adjustments that you need for it to have that nice shape. Okay. Okay, so there is your lid. Okay, so let's go ahead and form the spare tire. Now when these pieces cut out, what I want you guys to do is take these and just take a look at the size difference, okay? The longer one is gonna be the back of the spare tire. So you wanna take the longer one, put it off to the side with this decorative piece, this non-perforated piece, and then you're gonna have 4 circles, okay? And you'll see that 2 of them are larger than the other 2, okay? So you wanna take the larger ones and put those with the larger strip, and take the smaller one and put it with the smaller strip. Now you'll also notice for both of these, there's a perfectly round circle, and then there's one that is jagged, okay? So the jagged one we're gonna use to actually help form the spare tire, and then the round one is what we're gonna use to finish it, to make it look really nice. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna loop it around. We're gonna put glue on this tab here, glue it to the inside to help form this circle. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, pop that on there. Just make sure that you have it nice and lined up. Okay, so we've got that in place. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this down on the table and push all of these little triangles down. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and help train these triangles into place. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to grab the jagged piece, okay? And here you can get kind of crazy with the glue. I'm going to just put glue on all of these pieces here. You can kind of get messy if you want because you're not really going to see this, okay? I'll move that over. And take the jagged piece and pop it in there to help form that circle, okay? Push down, and then we can go ahead. Actually, I'm gonna push that down a little bit more. Didn't give it enough time to grip. Okay, and then we can take that and flip it over, take the nice perfect circle, put some glue on the back of it, and we're gonna glue that to the back. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is to give this spare tire a nice round look, we're gonna take this strip, there's a little score line here. Okay, we're gonna take some glue, put it right there, and just kind of, actually before you do that, kind of helps to use your finger to kind of make this, to train this paper to kind of be circular. Okay, so we're gonna glue it right there, and then we can actually take that, push down, and as we're doing that, just kind of wiggle it around, kind of train that to be circular as well. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead, slide that in. Just make sure that we get a good fit. Okay, that looks good to me. Okay, so technically, you don't even need to put glue on this piece if you don't want. Okay, but if you really want it to get a good grip, because it slides over perfectly, it looks really nice. I'm going to take this off. If you do want to put a little bit of glue on there just to make sure it doesn't move, put some glue towards the top. Don't put it towards the bottom, because as you slide this thing down, it's going to slide the glue down as well, and then it might get kind of messy. This way, you're going to basically distribute the glue and kind of force it down. Okay, so you can see that. And this is quick dry. It dries clear, so you're not really going to see that too bad. And that's going to give it a nice polished look. Okay, so there is the back of the spare tire. And basically, you're going to do the same thing with the inside of it. Okay, so we're going to take this, fold it over, glue it, just like we did the first time. Okay, so actually let me just show you that process again. Just going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue there, fold this over, and hold it down while it dries. Okay, just going to use a little more pressure to get that to stick. Okay. Then we're going to take and push these triangles down. Okay, and we're going to flip this over. Actually, I want to push those in a little bit more because they should be kind of angled down inside of that wheel shape. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to grab the jagged circle. Okay, and we're just going to cover these triangles with glue all the way around. Move that off to the side. Pop that in there to help form that shape. Okay. So that's looking good. And then finally, we're going to take some glue right on there. Get it out to the edges as close as you can without overdoing it. Take the perfect circle and place it right on top. Okay, and then you can push down. Okay, and then this circle should fit onto that circle perfectly. So it's kind of like a little hidden compartment. You can put something in if you want. And then basically you're going to glue that to the back. You're going to glue this one, the smaller one, to the back of the RV. And then this one's just going to slide right over it. And you've got your nice little trim piece that goes right on top. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish this off by completing the little AC unit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece. There's a tiny little tab here. Now this is probably one of the more miniature items in this project, so you have to have a little bit of patience when you go to create this thing. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue that tab in place to basically create the main structure of this little AC unit. Okay, and I should probably hold that a little bit longer to make sure it gets a good grip. But what we're going to do is we're going to take these tabs on one side and fold them out, and we're going to take the tabs on the other side and fold them in, because what we're going to do is we're going to take the more jagged version of this piece. There's one that's really round, and there's one that's jagged. Okay, we're going to take that, we're going to slide it in to help form that piece. And what we want to do is we want to get some glue on those tabs in there. Okay, so I'm just getting glue on all those little tabs in there. And again, you can be kind of sloppy with this because you're not going to see it because it's just on the inside. Okay, so I'm taking this piece and I'm just going to pop it in there to help form that piece. Okay, so once you have it in there, just kind of scooch everything around, move those tabs around until you have it formed. Okay. So we've got that. Okay, so we've got the basic formation of it. And just make sure you hold that down until it gets a nice grip. Okay, so that looks good. And we're going to take the other side. We're going to take the side that we just worked on, and we're going to finish that off with the nice round piece. We're going to glue that right on there. Okay, so we're just going to take some glue, pop it right on there. Make sure you get it as close to the edge as possible. We want it to get a nice hold right there towards the edge. Okay, make sure that's nice and aligned. You can kind of scooch these in a little bit as you're placing this piece just to make it nice and aligned. Okay, so that's looking good. I'm going to go ahead and take it and flip it over. Push these tabs in. So at this point, we can go ahead and finish this off. I'm going to go ahead and put glue on these tabs. Now with this, you don't need a jagged piece. We only use that one jagged piece to help us with the formation. Okay, and now with this, maybe pop the tabs out just a little bit so that as you're taking this nice round piece, and I've actually already put a piece of trim on this, and as you're pushing it down, it's going to get a better grip. Okay, so as you're doing that, just make sure that you're kind of pushing things in and adjusting as you go, just to make sure that you've got a nice, even AC unit, I guess. Make sure that all the nice edges and corners are aligned perfectly. Okay, so there you go. And of course, you're going to put that there. And then we have the top part. Okay, so there's two pieces. This part's going to get glued right here. And then you're going to fold that down and glue the other side to the front. Okay, so you're going to put glue here. You don't really need to put glue here. You can if you want. And then you put glue here. Just glue that down, kind of guide it and glue that down there. And then you have a trim piece. It's going to go right there. You're going to glue that down. And then finally, we have another one of these vents that you are going to glue right there. So that basically completes the little AC unit, which you're going to glue to the top of the lid of your RV.
Well, I hope you guys had fun assembling these projects from our Vegas road trip SVG bundle. And I hope you had just as much fun creating them as we did designing them. Now, if you do create any of these projects, we'd love to see your versions. So be sure to post them to Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and use the hashtag that you'll see up on your screen. Because what we're going to do is we're going to look for these photos featuring this hashtag, and we're going to consider some of them for inclusion in our Dreamers Gallery. And if you make it into the Dreamers Gallery, you'll also be eligible for some fun prizes, including gift cards to Dreaming Tree or 3dsvg.com. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.